I want to give now a live demo. Hopefully the whole works out. The aim of the live demo is to show all of you, so the use case partners, but also the technology partners, how to use the extension, or in general the Infore architecture, to design, deploy, and monitor streaming use case scenarios. I will here using use case 3 for the demo, but also other use cases can be handled the same way. And I want to do this because I want to enable everyone to use the current state of the architecture to work on their workflows in the architecture. So yeah, you should be able to then do the full progress from, I can show what I want to show, from downloading the architecture into Rapidminer Studio, reading and test data, pushing it to Kafka, designing, configuring steering workflows, deploying them, monitoring them, stopping them, also adapting and redeploying them, and also consuming the test results, so that you can either test your use case on your use case partner by checking the workflows, or checking your integrations with the components by designing a workflow around your component and checking what is working, what is not working. Yeah, there will be missing functionality for now in the extension. And then if you find out by yourself this is missing, please send us and we hopefully can implement it. But I hope that after this live demo, all of you can use the architecture and the streaming extension to work on your workflows and your scenarios. We have a few prerequisites for this. You need to have Rapidminer Studio installed, which should be easy to do. Just download it from the web page. If you need another license, ask for us. We can provide you with it. You need to have a test data set. If you want to try something, you have to know the test data set, and best it should be in JSON format. And you need to know the connection details to all clusters you use. It's mainly, for example, Kafka cluster. In our case, in this demo, I will use the Spring Server Kafka cluster for communication, and the cluster for actually deploying your analytic workflows. In this case, I will use the Flink cluster. And then if you want to use specific components, you need also the connection details to the clusters you want to use these components on. So in the demo I will use a second Flink cluster on the Spring Server for the complex event forecasting, and I want to use the Akka cluster for the team event detection. And then I need to know the connection details to this. Also, I want to use also the SDE service here, so you need to have a running SDE service and the name of the Kafka topics used. And as I want to deploy the CEF, I also need to have the CEF component jar file. If you want to use them, in your cases, you have to ask the corresponding partners, obviously, for either how to deploy the SDE service or how to access the CEF component and so on. So with these prerequisites, I will switching to Rapidminer Studio. So you should see now my Rapidminer Studio, and this is basically fresh Rapidminer Studio. Just rearranged a bit of the panels and created already a repository where I show you basically empty. But first step, I want to start showing you how to install the streaming extension. You just go, just make it a bit slower, so you go to extensions and you go to marketplace. And then you just search for the streaming extension. And you have to search. So you can just select it, streaming extension 0.2, as I said, yesterday updated. And then you select and you install it. And you accept the license, and then you wait for downloading. And this is a live demo, so I have to wait a bit. So now it's downloading the jar file, which we put on the marketplace database. Yeah, it's then installing it in your home folder in Rapidminer Studio automatically. And when now, after we have installed it, we have to restart Rapidminer Studio, and then all operators will be loaded into the actual studio. So yeah, you can use them then by yourself after you downloaded it. And now the restart, so I click on yes, and I wait until Rapidminer Studio is restarted. Oh yeah, I wanted to directly show you, this is the input data. I've already used the AIS data. So this is JSON files, this is text file, and these are, I think, over 300,000 events This is the demo set we are already we were using for the demo of the use case 3 with all the IDs and so on. And what I've already done is loading this into Rapidminer Studio. So this is now installed Rapidminer Studio, and you see here under extensions the streaming operators are now there. That's nice. I first wanted to show you I have created a process. So I prepared this a bit because I just wanted to do this for now. So I just have the data set here loaded in with then configured the operator and then store it under data and AIS. So this is this data set, just loaded it already, but that's easy to do. So you see here I have an example set with all the messages. And you can think about this is one way how we can include the data as an example set. We have not only read CSV or text files in general, we can read like all different kinds of data of files, or you can access databases or something else. So however you have your data, your test data in, you can already include it into your data set. And also if you have already in a Kafka topic, we don't need to actually load it into the repository because we can directly use it in the streaming workflows. But for now, the first thing I want to do is, as I said, we need to have the connection details to the different cluster I want to use. So first step I want to use, we see here there's a connection folder in it, and I can create new connections. Just right-click on it, create new connection. And first thing I wanted to use, as I said, is a Kafka cluster. I want to store it in the streaming demo repository. And as this is on the string server, I want to use string Kafka as a connection. And then I have to give in the properties. As I said, this is what we need to know. So I just copy and paste it from outside the screen. Because I prepared this. This is the combination of hosts and ports for a Kafka server. You need to know this information, and after you have just saved it, you have the object and can use it. And don't need to enter this at any other point. What we also need to have is a connection to the Flink server. So same structure, that's a Spring Flink. And then here we give it a different structure. So we have a host, a port. I'll just use parallelism level for 1 for now, and I specify the location of the remote dashboard. That's all. Now I have the Flink connection there, and then, as I said, I want to use another Spring cluster for the CF. So I create another connection object, and again, host. Now I'm using the same server, just another port, and yeah, I'm done. So now I have created the connection objects and can use them in all different processes, stream processes. So the first thing I want to do is, as I said, I need to push the data to my Kafka cluster because I want to use it. I want to test it. I have it read it into Rapidminer Studio. So now I create a new process. I start a new process, blank. I store it here, called push data to Kafka. And what I just want to do is I can access a streaming extension and can access here the Kafka write Kafka topic. For write Kafka topic, I need to specify the connection where, the Kafka cluster where I want to write it. So fine, that's good. And I need the data input. So this is the data file, an example set. And then I configure it. I want to give it a topic name. Fine. I want to send it completely as a bulk. In this case, as the messages are already formatted as JSON, I just use then the string format because our dataset was already had already JSON format in our example itself. Yeah, that's nice. This is everything we need to push data to Kafka topic. And what I want to do now is I execute this in background. This is only available if you have a large license, but you could just also run it locally and wait for it to finish. But I just want to run it in the background. So you see it's now running in the background. It's now pushing everything to Kafka. And while it's doing this, I can create another process already design it. So I create another process, and in this case, I want to call it use case 3 demo. Right? So everything you can do in Rapidminer Studio, and basic thing to create streaming workflows, we will need a streaming nest operator. Also, we need a connection to, in this case, a Flink cluster where we want to deploy it. That's nice. And we need a job name. So I call this, let's check. I call this demo streaming process. Okay, then I go inside with a double click, and I have to start with the Kafka source. Yeah? And for the Kafka source, I need again the Spring Kafka cluster. And here I just put in the topic, the demo input topic, which I just created. So you may remember the data is now pushed to this topic. It's done. So I will start from the earliest to access all the data, because currently I didn't create new data, just push everything already there, and done with the Kafka input source. Next step, what I want to do is I want to use the SDE. So SDE needs also a connection to the Kafka service. I directly make it maybe a bit nicer. So the SDE, in this case, I want to use the Maritime, and I have to configure it. Okay, I have prepared a bit which parameter I need. So I specify the dataset key, which is Maritime use case, the parameters, that is specific for the Maritime synopsis. For the parallelism, I use 4. For the unique ID, I use 2001. It's Maritime use case, so I need to have the ID key. I want to have continuous outputs, and then I just need the topic names of the SDE used. So now I've configured it. And next step, you may remember we can design any streaming analytic workflow. We have a bunch of operators which you can use. Now you can do mapping, you can select streams. So you can process your data depending on your use case and do anything without it, anything what you want with it. And when there's functionality missing, as I said, please write us. So in our case, we know after we talked with the SDE guys that we need to first filter the output of the SDE for our unique ID. So I enter a filter stream, and I say, okay, I want to have the key to be 2001, which was my unique ID. So this is, and now I have to process my data after that. So I configure this by using the graphical user interface. Next step, I know I need to pass the estimation field, because we know the output of the SDE is currently only a complete string, so I want to pass it. I know the corresponding key is called estimation, so just enter the estimation field. But you can imagine other post-processing steps here. Yeah? This is just a demonstration what to do there. Then, as an input, I want to use a select stream, because I just want to have the estimation key. So I just select the estimation key. And then I want to flatten, because I want to have a top level. This is only post-processing to get the data in the right format for the Maritime event detection, which is the next step. So I provide it to the Maritime event detection, and we need again a Kafka cluster for communication. I'm using the same Kafka cluster for all communications in this case. And here I'm using then an input topic and an output topic. And I have to know the connection details to the Maritime traffic cluster, and I'm using ship as a field, the key field. Still configuring everything in Rapidminer Studio. And after that, I'm using a Kafka sync to provide the output of the Maritime event detection to an output. In this case, I just call it demo output. So and to see it like a bit more structured. There's a little bit below. A bit more structured. So this process now As an analytic process, I'm using the SDE, I'm using the event detection, I'm using my input data, which I already pushed with Rapidminer to my Kafka topic, and I'm syncing it to another Kafka topic. So now I can deploy it. So it's now deploying to my Flink cluster, and it's also creating this job ID of the maritime event detection. So it started the job for the maritime event detection, and it was also successfully submitted to the cluster. And this we can also see, well, because what I've said, we have the new management dashboard. You can enable it by going to View, and the Show Panel, and you scroll down to Streaming Dashboard, and it's adding a new dashboard, a new panel here. And we have to auto-refresh or refresh manually, and after a few seconds, it will show the actual workflow we deployed. So it's running. Nice. Okay, I forgot one thing because I wanted to have the complex event forecasting in the process. So I stop now the workflow. So it's now stopping the one processed, the one deployed job, and I'm going back to the process and have to enter it, the complex event forecasting. So I need to duplicate the stream and before the maritime event detection because the data is the same for the complex event forecasting. So I enter a duplicate stream, and then I enter the operator for the complex event forecasting. And another Kafka connection here for the communication. And as I said, I want to deploy it on a different Flink cluster, so I'm using different connection here for the Flink connection. And then the actual streaming connection. And here again, I have to configure it. So I prepared this, just reading it from offsite. So these are the parameters for the complex event forecasting. So I have prepared here a patterns file. So you see it's also located here, test patterns. You can have a file picker here. You need to have it for using the complex event forecasting, as well as you see the job jar we need later. Using here parallelism 2, and then using topics, and then you need the jar file, as I said. Also, you can use again file picker to have it here. And then I need another sync. I just want to push it to another sync. And finally, as you see, the Kafka connection is everywhere. In theory, you could also just retrieve it an additional time and use it here, for example, so to have a bit more, like a bit different structure of the process. I like to have it everything one multiplied to indicate that's the same Kafka cluster, but you can use it also in the same way because retrieving the same connection object. And here I'm using now a different Kafka topic name as output. Saved it and execute it, deploying it. See, it's waiting a bit long. It's also now deploying the CEF. And when we go back to the streaming workflow, we see there's another entry here. And for now, it's not yet deployed, so the workflow status is unknown. So I need a bit of time to wait now for the deployed. Also, remember we can remove, so this is a stop job. We can remove the entry complete from the background management. So now it's only the current to be deployed workflow. So what it's doing now is taking the jar file from the which we provide here and providing it to the Flink cluster. This takes a bit of time. So now we have done it. Perfect. So we see when we wait a few seconds, I think it's updating every 3 seconds. We have now seen the complex event forecasting engine is deployed already. So it's now deploying. It should be now deployed everything. Fine, that's good. Else is running. And I've show you here. We can see, for example, go to the remote dashboard in Rapidminer Studio. It's still the window in Rapidminer Studio, and access the running. We see here that's the complex event forecasting job. That's nice. It's running, and we can also see the actual analytics workflow running. So running jobs, that's nice. And what we can also do now, last step, we want to investigate our results. So I create a new job again, and I want to pull data from Kafka. So, oh, maybe I have to correct the and here we can use again, show another way how to access. You can also always search for operators by just typing them in here. We want to use the read Kafka topic operator, which needs again the Spring Kafka topic, and then I want to investigate first the first Kafka topic. I want to also have the earliest access, and I'm increasing my retrieval time out to 10 maybe. So now I'm just reading it. So you see here, this was the test from yesterday, and you see here these are the detected events in the data set, and you see here there's the type. So this was proximity start and end events detected in the data set. And I think I have also some for the complex event forecasting. So what you can do is really still in Rapidminer Studio access the results of your data sets. So I think this was then the forecasted events. But as you can see here, you can imagine you can also inspect your events, your output, and checking if you get what you expect. You can have also the data sets which we have shown here. So when you think about the other topic from yesterday, you can further process the data in your example sets. We obviously have also output, writing output to file. So you could also use this example set and further process it, or do anything with it. Okay. No, was a bunch of steps. You see, still the process is running. I'm ready. I think I'm done. So thank you for attention. Any questions?